Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Rob, and this is my birthday week. So, happy birthday to myself, with the exception of the Thor video, which I technically already recorded. I'm just gonna be playing it low-key this week. We got a Thor video, we got Beyond Omega level. I'm just gonna relax this week, work out some stuff around the house, probably wash my car, make some videos on Geek Culture Explained. Gonna be pretty straightforward and pretty chill. So, we're gonna be doing Dark Ages this week, and this story is amazing. God, I absolutely love this story. Because it's a new cosmic entity in Marvel Comics. Plus, it's cool. I think you guys are really gonna dig it. So what this does here is this initially picks up in New Jersey. Why everybody's hanging out in New Jersey, I'll never fully understand. Everybody's hanging out in New Jersey, right? And for the most part, it's like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and MJ and Spider-Man. Here's kind of a cool thing, right? This story is written by Tom Taylor. I love the detail here, and here's the reason why. So one of the things that a lot of people may not know when it comes to the history of Spider-Man, particularly Spider-Man and Jessica Jones, is that when Jessica Jones initially struck out to become a hero, of course she ran into the Purple Man, and the Purple Man screwed with her life and did all kinds of terrible things and all that stuff. But one of the things you learned later on is that the reason why Jessica Jones became a superhero is because she idolized Spider-Man. And so it was cool to see her, like, literally, in some degree, model herself after Peter Parker, albeit she's called herself Jewel and that kind of a thing. But it is still pretty cool to see here. And so that's why the relationship, really the friendship between Jessica Jones and Peter Parker has been so strong over the years, is because there was a depth to their friendship that not even Peter Parker was aware of. And once he became aware of that, he was like, I mean, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we can be really cool friends. We've been friends for a while, but I guess we're better friends now, you know, that kind of a thing. Of course, you also have, like, Peter Parker's daughter, him and Mary Jane Watson are together in this alternate reality, and they have a little girl, and she's kind of doing her thing and learning her powers and all that kind of stuff, but then suddenly, everybody's spider sense goes off. Now, the way it's explained here by Peter Parker, because this whole story is largely given to us by way of a monologue, but you also get dialogue between the individual characters. Peter Parker says that, like, the spiders were the ones who felt it first. Now, it makes the most sense here, and this is one of the other reasons why I love this, is because you would expect all the spiders to feel it first. Just because of the fact that the spider sense warns them of impending danger, and is kind of an early alert system, which is really one of the only reasons why any one of the Spider-Man community is able to fight on the level that they do against the kind of foes that they face off against. Otherwise, they would just be killed pretty quickly, and there wouldn't really be much going on there. But the thing about this is that it's not really the fact that their spider sense goes off, it's the extreme degree to which they feel it. And that's what really freaks out Peter Parker, is because he's like, the only time that I've ever really felt my spider sense go off this strong was when, like, Galactus was approaching Earth. But this was way worse than that, right? This is one of those things where it felt like Galactus was consuming the Earth, right? Destruction, the death of everything is impending. And so at this point, we switch over to Lunella Lafayette. Now, I'm still a little murky about Moon Girl. And here's the reason why. I have been reading comics forever. For so long. And as long as I've been alive since her introduction and the point where she became really significant in any measurable way, Valeria Richards has always been the smartest kid in the Marvel Universe. More recently, it's Moon Girl. The reality here, though, is that I kind of like the shift, so I'm on the fence. On one hand, I like the change of Moon Girl being like the new girl who's like the smartest girl in the universe. But at the same time, I'm so used to it being Valeria Richards. So I don't really know which way to go here. But regardless, right, Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, which I always love the idea of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Her idea is, okay, she starts picking up on these patterns that nobody picks up on, right? It's one of the things that makes her one of the smartest people in the world. And in fact, it's kind of interesting because the way it's phrased here, the world's smartest person on her way to the Baxter Building to talk to the world's second smartest person, which that I will not accept. I will never accept. That Reed Richards or Victor Von Doom are not trading places as the smartest person in the world. I'm sorry, I cannot, I probably couldn't accept that, given enough time. But regardless, it's unimportant. The other part of this is, on the telepathic side, they start to pick up something, saying like a mind has woken up in the earth, and it's nothing like they've ever felt before. But while the spiders are sensing this, and Moon Girl is picking up on this, and the telepaths are picking up on this, somebody else is picking up on this as well, and that's Apocalypse. And that was when the story won me over. I was a little unsure about it at first. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. And then it's just like Apocalypse just being menacing and doing Apocalypse stuff, and I was like, so like at that point, It was just a matter of seeing how the story unfolded. Spoiler alert, I read through this whole story in like an hour and a half. I blew through this whole thing. That's how much I loved it. That's how good it was. So it was phenomenal. But essentially everybody comes together at the Baxter Building, right? They come together to basically meet with Reed Richards. And the thing about this is that while they're discussing and while they're talking, these tremors are being felt. And that's where you have, and this is something I would love to read, actually, a team-up book between Moon Girl and Valeria Richards. But the two of them approach Reed, and Moon Girl kind of presents her findings. And she's like, here's the thing. She was like, the tremors are not consistent with tectonic plate shifts, right? The quakes are simply just too short. If this was something where like the earth was shifting, right, by some manner, by some situation, the tectonic plates of the earth were moving around. This is not something that happens quickly, right? They don't move super fast. They don't jolt in that way, right? Plate tectonic shifts create a lasting earthquake feeling, right? I mean, what they're experiencing is literally somebody pounding on a door. And that's what Moon Girl says is like, we're being attacked from inside the earth. And that's when Valeria's like, I think the world is ending. Now, at that point, you get the obligatory, water appears, yes, the world is ending, that kind of thing, which is not necessarily as impactful as it used to be. For those guys who are new to Marvel Comics, there was a time when this mattered, dude. There was a time when the Watcher showed up, you were like, damn, son. Alright, dude, it's about to pop off. When the Watcher shows up now, it's like, oh, cool, to watch you. Alright, cool, sir. I guess maybe something's gonna happen, I don't know. But like, the Watcher shows up, and it's kind of like, yes, right? Like, the world is basically ending. This is what I've been watching for. The Earth has hours. Now, at this point, we actually get an explanation on what's going on. Now, to give you guys an indication, we're literally getting an explanation about the main bad guy in the first 12 pages of this comic, which should right off the bat tell you that this being a 6-issue limited series, this plot goes way beyond that, and it does. It gets really, really amazing. So, the whole thing, as is explained to us, is that we're told that 10 billion years ago, a living machine was created, and that this living machine existed to basically protect the universe, right, to stop entropy in the form of consuming black holes. Now, right off the bat, that doesn't really make any sense, just because of the fact that universes have black holes, the natural order of things, that when a star burns through, basically every elemental conversion it can, it eventually settles on what's in effect ash. And so basically, the star just can't maintain itself, right? It literally can't keep itself going. The gravitational pull of the star outweighs the explosive desire of the star to expand. And so once a star goes supernova, that gravitational pull just sucks everything in, and then boom, you've got a singularity, a hole in space, which depending on what theory you follow with, may lead to another part of the universe, right? Like, we don't understand anything about black holes. Like, I mean, we can't send probes in. Nothing gets out of there, so until we achieve faster than light travel, we'll never be able to go into a black hole, see what's there, and escape. All we know is that you just basically get broken down on the atomic level when you get sucked in. But the thing about this is that the purpose of this thing was to basically consume black holes. Over time, ended up just becoming corrupted. Now, here's a funny thing about this. While this isn't necessarily the most compelling story for this new cosmic entity or a villain, the reality is, this guy doesn't matter. He's the least important part of this story, which is another indication of how cool this story is. Ultimately, because of the fact that it was so extreme, it couldn't physically be destroyed. Not even by the Living Tribunal. Living Tribunal tried to destroy it, but it couldn't be destroyed by the Living Tribunal. So the only thing it did is it put it to sleep, and then stuck it in the core of a planet, which is basically turned out to be Earth. And so it's just been there ever since. But by whatever manner and whatever means, the machine is waking up. And so as a result of that, it's literally trying to plow its way through the world. Now, this is when things get nuts. This is one of the story, because anybody who reads Tom Taylor, you guys know Tom Taylor's just like, once upon a time, there was a universe, and in this universe there was Earth, there were superheroes, and some bad things were happening, and so the superheroes came together, and then they all died, and then bad things happened, and the world exploded, and this and this and this and this. That's how Tom Taylor writes, right? That's how Tom Taylor does things. It's just, it goes from 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye, and that's exactly what happens here. So what they end up doing is they basically form what's basically a strike team. Right now, the Vision has chosen a living machine to fight a living machine. The Scarlet Witch is chosen because of her ability to reshape reality and basically fight against a being who could unmake reality. And then Doctor Strange was chosen because apparently he's a pinnacle of technology. And then the Invisible Woman to protect everybody from the heat of the Earth's core. Ben Grimm is chosen because if the thing needs to be punched, Ben Grimm's probably the best person to do it, which I would argue would probably be the Hulk. But following this, they all basically travel to the Earth's core and they encounter the Unmaker, right? This machine that's literally just trying to punch its way out. And so initially, it totally ignores them in the same way you would expect it to, right? That like a cosmic entity wouldn't really care about regular beings here. The other part of this, though, is that we actually end up switching over to Wakanda. Now remember, Wakanda is built on the Great Mound, right? All that vibranium, which basically absorbs impact. And so because of that, Wakanda doesn't really feel the effects in the same way everybody else does, but they're still able to feel it, and they know that something's going on there. And so in the end, while all these other places, these other cities and these other, in these other countries are just totally laid to waste by this attack, right? Even Atlantis itself completely and totally collapses. The superheroes all help where they can, when they can. Getting people out, right? Trying to rescue people from buildings, all that kind of stuff. And what you end up having here is, of course, Ben Grimm, who initially launches an attack against the Unmaker and is completely obliterated, right? Just absolutely annihilated. Never stood a chance, right? He's just completely and totally destroyed. At that point, the Scarlet Witch steps up. And what's really cool about this, the way that Peter explains this, it's nuts, right? The Scarlet Witch attempted to reshape reality, but despite still waking to its full power, the Unmaker simply unmade everything she tried to do. And then, it unmade Wanda. Like literally, she ceased to exist. It wiped her out of existence. After that, Vision goes and attacks it. And then the cool thing is that Vision gives them precious few seconds, but there's not a whole lot they can do. That in essence what it looks like is the Unmaker had basically absorbed the intelligence of Vision, and that was basically the end of him, right? There wasn't really anything that could be done with Vision. But what Doctor Strange does, in realizing this thing is a living machine, the Doctor Strange basically literally scouts all these different alternate realities that are out there, all these different dimensions that exist out there, and says, okay, there's gotta be one that's capable of bringing this guy down. Now, our initial thought here, and honestly, this would have been a phenomenal opportunity if this was like a 12-issue maxi series, or if it was like maybe kind of an expanded maxi series that went on for 24 issues or something like that, or a multi-part story, as if he had just summoned out of desperation Dormammu or somebody like that, right, and just led to the ruin of all, or something along those lines. Instead, and it's not a terrible thing here, what he ends up doing is basically opening a portal to a realm that basically has an electromagnetic pulse at the heart of it, right? It's just constantly emanating an EMP. Now what this does, while really it's only Susan Storm and Doctor Strange who are left, what this does is it basically, it allows this EMP to initiate. The problem is, in the exact moment when the portal's opened, the Unmaker realizes what Doctor Strange is doing, and then impales him, and then kills Doctor Strange. Now, of course, the EMP is enough to take down the Unmaker, and Doctor Strange sends Susan Storm away to a portal back to the surface. The problem is that, with Doctor Strange basically being dead, there's no way to close the portal, as so the basis behind the whole concept of Marvel Dark Ages is that with this portal being stuck open, and this constant EMP emanating from this alternate reality, and seemingly no one having the ability to close the portal, it means there is a constant electromagnetic pulse emanating throughout the Earth. And it's nuts, because the way that Peter Parker explains it, he says, but with Strange dead, the portal stayed open. He says the constant EMP wave grew and encompassed the entire planet and beyond, sending the Earth into darkness. The sky literally began to fall. Everything stopped, from powered suits to switches, machines sustaining life, artificial life, even web shooters, like the web shooters of Peter Parker. It all ended. And so Peter Parker is able to get right back to where Mary Jane and the kids are supposed to be, or at least where his daughter is supposed to be. But when he gets there, the building is completely and totally covered in rubble. You do have Luke Cage and you do have Jessica Jones, but what Jessica Jones says is that Mary Jane was in there trying to get people out, right? She was trying to help the last of the people evacuate the building when the whole thing came crumbling down. And so in essence, it looks like Peter Parker's lost Mary Jane Watson. But the crazy thing is, he starts digging through this rubble, and when he does, what he finds is his daughter had actually saved him, which is adorable. It's amazing that it's so cool. His little girl's just standing there. She's like, Dad. She's holding up all this rubble and everything, which is really, really cool. And of course, that means Mary Jane Watson's life is effectively safe. But the cool thing about this, and this is what's wild here, right? This is what really got me into this, because I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. So what we're told is we jump forward 7 years, and Peter says 7 years ago, the world we knew ended. We built another world, a world to be proud of. But years after the lights went out, after the end, came the apocalypse, that Apocalypse himself has basically marshaled his own horsemen, and in doing so, is sending them forward into the world, presumably with the intention of conquering it. And that's the thing, these aren't just regular 4 horsemen. These are Reed Richards and She-Hulk and all that stuff. It's cool. I would do this. The rest of the story is phenomenal. It's one of the best stories, some of the best writing that Marvel's done in quite some time. But with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace!